Silence. Then, the sound of a single coin dropping onto a wooden table. Not digital, not numbers on a screen. Metal. Heavy. Real. For most of human history, money was something you could hold. Gold. Silver. Something that could not be created at will. Something that governments could not invent overnight. Something that meant limits. But today, trillions of dollars can appear out of nothing. No gold mined, no work done, no physical backing, just numbers, created instantly. So here's the question. When money stopped being real, what replaced it? And who gained the power to create wealth from nothing? When money was real, for thousands of years, money had weight. Empires rose on gold. Rome paid its soldiers in silver coins. Medieval kingdoms stored gold in vaults. Trade depended on metal that could not be faked easily. Because gold had one critical property: scarcity. You couldn't print gold. You had to find it, mine it, extract it. Slowly, painfully. This created a natural limit on money. Governments couldn't create unlimited wealth. They were constrained by reality. But gold had a problem. It was heavy, dangerous to transport. So banks began offering something new: paper notes, not as money itself, but as a promise. A promise that you could exchange that paper for real gold at any time. This became known as the gold standard. Money wasn't gold anymore, but it represented gold, and that distinction would change everything. The promise that held everything together. Imagine you deposit 100 grams of gold in a bank vault. The bank gives you a note. That note says, "This paper equals 100 grams of gold." You can spend the note instead of carrying gold. And anyone who receives it can redeem it for gold. This works as long as the promise is kept. Because the note itself has no value. Its value comes from trust. Trust that gold exists behind it. Trust that redemption is possible. Trust that the system is honest. Now imagine millions of these notes circulating, representing gold locked safely in vaults. This made economies faster, trade easier, growth possible. But it also created temptation, because banks realized something dangerous. Most people never redeemed their gold. They just used the paper. So banks began issuing more paper notes than gold they actually held, creating money that technically didn't exist. At first, slowly, then more aggressively. But as long as no one asked for gold at the same time, the illusion held. Until the day everything changed. Turning point, 1971. By the mid-20th century, the entire global financial system was tied to the US dollar, and the dollar was tied to gold. Foreign governments could exchange dollars for gold from the United States. This made the dollar trustworthy, stable, reliable. But behind the scenes, something was breaking. The United States was spending enormous amounts of money. Wars, infrastructure, social programs. More dollars were being created than gold existed to back them. Foreign countries noticed. They began redeeming dollars for gold. Gold started leaving U.S. vaults. The system was under pressure. If too many countries asked for gold, the illusion would collapse. Then came August 15th, 1971. President Richard Nixon appeared on television, calm, controlled, and made an announcement that would change money forever. The United States would no longer exchange dollars for gold. The promise was over. Temporarily, he said. But temporary became permanent. In that moment, the dollar stopped being backed by gold. And because the dollar anchored the global system, all money became disconnected from physical reality. For the first time in modern history, money was backed by nothing except belief. The age of unlimited money. At first, nothing seemed different. People still used dollars, still trusted the system. But something fundamental had changed. Money now had no natural limit. Governments could create it freely, not constrained by gold, not constrained by physical scarcity, only by decision. This changed incentives completely. Debt could grow faster, much faster, because repayment could be delayed with newly created money. Financial crises could be patched with money creation. Recessions softened with stimulus. Banks rescued. Markets stabilized. Short-term stability improved. But long-term consequences emerged slowly. Inflation, asset bubbles, rising inequality. Because new money does not enter society evenly, it enters through financial systems first, through banks, through markets, through those closest to money creation, which means the benefits arrive unevenly. Early receivers gain the most, late receivers pay the cost. Over decades, this reshaped economies. Asset prices rose faster than wages. Housing became harder to afford. Savings lost value quietly, not through theft, but through dilution. Because when money increases, each unit represents slightly less, even if nothing appears to change. This is the invisible consequence of unlimited money. Not immediate collapse, but gradual transformation. The new foundation of money. Money today is not backed by gold. It is backed by trust. Trust in governments, trust in central banks, trust in systems, trust that others will accept it tomorrow. This system offers flexibility, stability during crises, room for growth, but it also removes constraints. It gives humans something no civilization had before, the ability to create money from nothing, which raises an uncomfortable truth. Money is no longer anchored to physical reality. It is anchored to belief. And belief is powerful, but fragile, because once money became something we believe in, its stability depended not on gold, but on confidence. So here's the question. If money is no longer backed by anything physical, only by trust, what gives it real value? And what happens if that trust ever breaks? Write your opinion in comment box below.